This is a download from the outdoorstation.co.uk. You're listening to the tale of three podcasters walking across Scotland during the 30th anniversary of the RAB TGO Challenge. Part 4.
This podcast is just one from a special series produced from a wealth of recordings made in May 2009 during the 30th anniversary of the RAB TGO Challenge. Recording the event were Andy Howell, Shirley Worrell and me, Bob Cartwright. We were just three of the 360 or so challengers who were walking the unsupported 200 miles from the west to the east coast of Scotland. This was the 30th year of the event, sponsored by RAB and, of course, TGO magazine, who have been behind the challenge ever since its inception in 1980. The framework and principle is totally unique. It isn't a race or competition of any kind. The objective is to foster good fellowship amongst walkers within the framework of a challenging 200-mile expedition. This is a backpacking trip, and everyone carries what they need for the duration, picking up the occasional food parcel along the way. The start consists of a series of sign-out locations on the west coast, anywhere from Torridon in the north down to Ardrishaig in the south. Each challenger, solo, couple or group makes their way via a high route, a low route or the mixture of the two across Scotland to finish anywhere between Arbroath and Fraserburgh on the east coast. There's a set 2-week window to do this in, and each participant submits their route for inspection prior to departure for safety and advice reasons. The places are normally limited to 300. However, on this 30th anniversary, this was increased to 360. Details about the future events, entry forms, past stories and photographs can be found in the October issue of TGO magazine. Plus, in recent years, there's an ever-growing online library of podcasts, diaries and blogs from numerous challengers dotted around the web. Each participant makes the challenge as easy or as hard as they wish. The extremes can be a remote high route, carrying everything you need, navigating your way across wild country, taking in the magic vista which only Scotland can offer, and not seeing another soul for days on end. Or a route taking in the many social meeting places, not camping at all, and using established warm, dry accommodation all the way. Most people do a mixture of the two in different forms, depending on the ever-changing conditions an event like this can throw at you. On this 30th anniversary, 3 of us took audio recorders with us to share our experiences, and those of others we met along the way. Rose and I started from Oban, Andy Howell and his partner Kate from Torridon, and for the first time this year, Shirley Worrell was to give us a solo female perspective, also starting from Torridon. We were all aiming for different finish points on the east coast via completely different routes. And so this is our story.
Well, it's just after 6:30 on the morning of day 5. It's hard to believe that I'm already on day 5. Almost a third of the challenge completed. I'm sitting in a stone circle in some land attached to the house at Orogi, which is just on the other side of Loch Ness, which is the place that I camped last night with a group of other people. We had a fantastic welcome here. We were met with an invitation to put up our tents wherever we liked in a beautiful field, and then we were given tea and coffee and biscuits. It was wonderful. So anyway, I had quite a good night last night. My Thai green curry turned out to be mildly disappointing, but I'm sure that it was nutritional, full of corn mince as it was. Slept quite well. It was a cold night. When I woke up this morning, there was ice on the ground, on the fly sheet. I've noticed a couple of other people have said they've been cold so far, but fortunately, because I brought my slightly heavier sleeping bag and used my very lightweight bivvy as well, I haven't yet been cold. But anyway, slept quite well. I did wake up at about 2 o'clock in the morning to hear some sort of bird screeching. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe it was a screech owl. I'll ask somebody else a little bit later on. But it went on for such a long time that it completely woke me up when I recorded it. So anyway, that was that. I read for about an hour after that. But then I went back to sleep and woke up probably at about 6 a.m. Sat up, made a drink and started to get my bits and pieces together. I'm about to start the crossing of the Mona Leith today. My intention is to be in Aviemore, not tonight but the night after. And so I'm hoping that tonight I might be camping at some tiny little lochen, approximately halfway between here and there. I haven't, in fact, walked across the Mona Leith before because when I was planning to do so in 2006, I unfortunately managed to tip forwards off a mountain and hurt my ribs, and so therefore I had to go by a lower route. And so this will be a first for me, and I've heard all sorts of scary stories about how boggy they can be, but I'm hoping it's not going to be. It's yet another absolutely beautiful morning, golden, entrancingly lovely. I'm sure that you can hear the bird song, and I mean, it looks as though it's going to be another hot day, and if it is, that'll be 3 fantastically hot days on the run, which seems almost too good to be true, but certainly I hope that it will be that way, and I hope that it won't be too boggy as I cross the mountains. Well, I'm not sure whether I'm going to be walking on with some other people today, or whether I'll be striking out on my own. I suppose I'll play it by ear and see how things go. I'll do some kind of update in the course of the morning, I suppose when a better plan has been made. But for the moment, I'll go back to my hot chocolate. I've eaten my flapjack. I stocked up on flapjacks yesterday. So I've eaten my flapjack, I'm drinking my hot chocolate, and soon I'll go off and pack up my tent. So for now, it's goodbye from me.
Good morning. It's Tuesday morning and the sun is up, the sky is blue, there isn't a cloud in the sky. It's been a bit of a fresh night, but not quite a frost, but certainly fairly cool when we got out the tent this morning. It's now 7:30 and we're all rocking and ready to roll, aren't we, girls?
Well, we are up and ready to go.
Come on now, it's beautiful, it's lovely, it's dry.
Gorgeous. It's really nice. We just know what a long walk we got to Dalwhinnie this morning.
Yeah, well, yes, fair enough, we have got a bit of a walk ahead of us, but it shouldn't be too bad. If the weather's like this, it always makes life a lot easier. We've got a nice early start. We had we've had a couple of long days to try and catch up the times we've lost so far, and we've done very, very well. So we should be in Dalwhinnie as planned for our booking tonight, and if possible for Beth's lift. And we had a good day yesterday.
Yeah, it was really good actually. Beautiful climb out of Kinloch-Leven through Birchwood again. It was beautiful, wasn't it? So many waterfalls, and not too bad going.
And then we met another couple of challengers who I didn't catch the name of on the top of Blackwater Reservoir, and that was beautifully still, wasn't it, Beth?
Yeah, it was gorgeous scenery from then onwards. You really got a nice aerial view of sort of the lochs and the different valleys and gullies and things.
Then we made our way along the track from the reservoir to Loch Eran Bothy, which was, well, it was full of challengers, full of different people.
Swarming with challengers.
Coming in from all different directions for lunch.
Like a Mecca.
But everybody was patting each other on the back and seemed to know each other. It was lots of hellos and watching people come in and go out and set up at various stages. We had a fantastic slap-up meal there we'd bought the previous day.
We did indeed. Cheese rolls for me.
Sausage rolls for me.
And Scotch eggs for me. And that was fantastic. Nothing dehydrated. It was bought the previous day. We carry it and then eat it.
The apples were the best bit. Oh.
Yeah, some
And the Eccles cakes.
Yeah, Eccles cakes.
So as you can hear, that went down well, and the weather the rest of the day was good, and we made our way along the track. Sadly, the track had been completely butchered by a motocross event which had happened. Apparently it was a 6-day event, and there must have been quite a few bikes going through what was the path, and obviously wide of the path, following whatever course they were following, and they completely churned it all up. It was very hard going underfoot, wasn't it?
It was pretty boggy.
But we eventually got down to Loch Trigg, where once again there were a handful of challengers just watching the sun go down almost, and it was so still. It would have been a perfect place to just get a Canadian canoe out and potter out and do a bit of fishing. It was a wonderful place. You can see why that's where people head to from Carrour Station. Talking of which, we then turned right and started up the track towards Carrour Station. We'd heard the footpath round to Carrour YHA by Loch Ossian was a bit boggy. But as it turned out, they've turned it into a motorway. So the hardcore track actually goes almost to Loch Ossian and then splits and turns right to the station and left to Loch Ossian. But it was fairly easy going and speeded up what was a fairly long day at that stage.
It certainly was. I mean, we were quite tired by then, and it really was a bonus to have that track just to motor along, and then started looking for a campsite.
Yeah, and then we bumped into David Albon, who'd, frustratingly, had caught us up coming from Carraw Station after having enjoyed a pint and something to eat, and carrying the waft of warm beer with him, which is like, oh, left or right, left or right. It was, wasn't it? So we went along Loch Ossian looking for a spot, and there was really very, very few for 2 tents to choose from. If you had a single tent or a little bivvy bag, you could have camped pretty well anywhere. But we made it to the end, and we were told of a good spot that was past the large house, the State House, which we did, and they've done some logging, and it turned into a bit of a, looks like a battlefield. And then, lo and behold, 50 yards past that, there's the bridge over the stream, and the perfect camping spot for the end of a very, very long day. Well, that's right, that's how our day went. Now, what about things we've seen? It seems a bit boring if we just keep talking about beginning, middle and ends of days. Rose, you're our nature expert, our nature watch. What have you seen this last few days?
Wow. No, there's been lots actually. As usual, it's about a month behind where we are at home, so there's still primroses and violets out, which are fabulous. Wood anemones coming out now as well. Wood sorrel, which I keep encouraging Bob and Beth to try because it's edible and it's got a nice sort of bitter taste, sort of lemon taste to it.
I've tried it and it does taste like grass.
It does not taste like grass. I wanted to put some in the fisherman's pie and they wouldn't let me. So we went on. Lots of other bits and pieces we've seen. Lots of tadpoles and frogs. Beth spots all the little ones alive and I keep finding dead ones, which is not so good. Caterpillars, which I think is the emperor moth. Just lots of bird life as well. So it's been really good to see everything.
And you, Beth, have you now sort of got out of your mind the exams and all the paperwork and things you should and shouldn't have done?
Yeah, definitely. As soon as we sort of got out of suburbia, I guess you get away from the, oh, have I done all the essays? Have I handed everything in? Have I got a secret exam, which I didn't realise I had and I'm actually missing it? So it's quite nice just to, now you're in the kind of the depths of Scotland Highlands, I guess, it's a lot more relaxing.
You're in the you're in the groove.
I'm in the groove, yes.
So you'll remember this spot in a few days' time. Then, when you're sitting in front of your computer, staring out at your brick wall in your town,
revising. Definitely, like last night after we had some very nice dehydrated chickpea curry, and sort of just laying in my tent with the flaps open and looking across the gully, and it was fantastic scenery as the sun was setting. So definitely going to remember that whilst I'm revising hard for my next exam.
Excellent. And Dave's just stepped over and joined us, having finally packed his pack. We've been sitting here waiting for hours for him to get himself sorted. So, David, I'll have a chat with you a bit later on about your trip, as it were, and so on. But tell us where we're off to today, if you would.
We're going to follow the Uskalair up and then join a Great Stalker's Path that will take us over the Bielek Dhu. Fabulous views through, and then descend down to Corrobothy and eventually Dalwhinnie.
Have some lunch at Cora and then the last yomp into Dalwhinnie, looking forward to a nice cold beer.
That's right. Absolutely.
Now, you were lucky enough to have a cold beer last night. I was just been talking about this waft of pub that came with you when you joined us on the track. For people listening to this, Carraw Station, I understand, is quite a destination for all sorts of reasons.
It's absolutely fabulous. I mean, it's famous because of the film Trainspotting, but it's also absolutely fabulous because they've got this wonderful tea room on the station, which is far more than a tea room. I thought I'll be lucky if I get a cup of tea and a bit of cake, but I had a venison burger, chips, they had draft real ale. It was absolutely fabulous, and the lady there seemed to know all about the challenge. She was very interested, very hospitable. Great place. Lots of walkers there, mostly day walkers, but a few challengers too.
What's it like, I mean, if people are heading out and want to use that as a base, is there a hostel there or a bunkhouse or a campsite or anything like that?
My understanding, which will need to be confirmed, is that there's a B&B on Curragh Station now.
Right.
For years there was a bunkhouse, and then about the time that we started doing the challenge, it shut down and it was never available, and we needed it. But I think this year a few people did say they'd actually booked into the B&B on Curragh Station.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if they've improved the road, which they obviously have between Loch Trigg and the station now, and this area, then presumably it's a fairly it's going to be an even more popular destination if the walking is easier.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think I'm right in saying that it's got the reputation of being one of the most remote train stations on the rail system here in the UK. So yeah, it's just a great place to go, and the walking in all sorts of directions from here is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely superb. Well, we've seen Marcus head off. He's now headed into the hills one way. We're going to set up off the gully, as David was just saying, and yes, it looks like another fine day's walking, and the sun is out, and we'll even get the suntan cream on a bit later on. Fantastic. So we'll catch up with you later.
Well, hello, it's mid-afternoon on day 5, and I'm now, crossing the Monoliath with the people who remained from the bunch of people I left Arogia with this morning. And so I'm still with Andy and Kate, and also with Colin. They've just gone forward a little bit in front. And it's an absolutely beautiful day. It's hard to believe the weather can be as fantastic as this, especially bearing in mind how absolutely grizzly it was only 3 days ago. But we have bright, hot sunshine. We had a little lunch break, perhaps half an hour ago. And it was just so gorgeous that Kate and I both lay back, and certainly I fell asleep. We were lying next to a little stream. There was the sound of water tinkling in the background. Small insects, but not biting insects, buzzing around overhead. Absolutely staggeringly lovely. So yes, it's going very well. I don't think we've entirely decided where we're going to stay tonight, but Kate and I decided we would allow the blokes to take charge of the navigation today, because we know how much they enjoy it, and we feel they probably need the practice, and so we're taking a back seat in relation to the navigation and allowing them to get on with it, and I'm more than happy to simply follow. And so since we're walking through the Monoliath, it occurred to me that it would be nice if it was possible to have a chat with somebody who actually lives here about how they find the conditions, what kit they feel works for them. And we've been lucky enough this morning to run into a few people walking in the same direction as us, and so therefore I've been able to persuade Gwendolyn to have a word. I think it's Gwenny actually, isn't it? So first of all, thank you very much indeed for agreeing to have a brief word with us. Now, first thing I noticed, because I'm always very interested in walking kit, is the clothing that you were wearing. I noticed that you were wearing what seems to be quite an attractive sort of close-fitting, all-in-one-piece suit. Is that actually wool? I thought it was. I thought I recognised it. But it's interesting because, of course, you so rarely see people dressed in wool these days. I have to say that with the advent of Polartec back in the 1970s, I thought wool was more or less redundant. And I noticed that you're not carrying poles. Do you find that places you at any sort of disadvantage? In fact, now I look at it, I notice that you really don't seem to be carrying very much of anything at all. Well, Gwenny, I'm very grateful to you for setting some time aside to have a chat with us about this. It's all very useful information and all grist to the mill for challengers. All information to be put into the challenge database for future years. And can I ask you finally, therefore, whether you're intending to carry on with your close-fitting wool garment? Oh, I see. I'm very sorry to hear that. For those who don't actually speak sheep, Gwenny's just explaining to me that she's currently wearing wool because she hasn't been able to afford to buy a set of Paramo waterproof clothing. So to any of you listening who'd like to support Gwendolyn in her attempt to kit herself out in a proper set of waterproof clothing, you can send any donations that you like to send to Gwendolyn, care of the Gwendolyn's Please Buy Me a Set of Proper Waterproof Clothing appeal. Gwendolyn's Stye, North Monoliath Mountains, Scotland. Thank you very much. Well, that's that from me, and no doubt I'll provide some kind of update later in the day. And goodbye from Gwendolyn.
Later in the afternoon at 3:30, we're just making our final way down to the loch side in the just before the last few kilometres before Dalwhinnie. Looking forward to this selection of random houses that David's been telling us about on the way here. We've had a lovely day today. It's been absolutely superb, hasn't it, David?
Yes. There's the Ben Alder Lodge, an incredible feat of combination of different architecture.
And under construction still.
Still under construction, yeah.
Who actually owns it? Do you know who owns it?
Oh, some billionaire. I'm not sure if it's where he's from, whether he's Swiss or whether he's from somewhere else. I'm not sure, but yeah, there's always stuff going on there.
Is this the one that has got his own helicopter pad for
I believe so.
quick weekends?
Yeah, I did hear last time I came through here. Some of the locals up in Dalwhinnie were kind of just talking about the big house and the chap who owns it and different things that go on there. But further on, here's the gatehouse, or is that just one of the small houses? But much further on, you'll see when we come to it, is the gatehouse, which is an incredible structure in itself. You know, it's just the gatehouse, the entranceway to this estate house, and it's incredibly posh. Yeah.
So, how's the journey been for you this year? We've all obviously had the first couple of wet days. Give us a bit of an outline of what it was like to travel in from Acharacal during some pretty miserable weather.
Yeah. Well, a completely new start for me. Pretty much all the way through to Curragh Station was new territory. So it's always exciting when you're beginning a challenge and you know that although you're going to go through some sections you've seen before, that an awful lot of it is brand new. So yeah, a share of the problems that a few folks had, plus a couple of extra ones I hadn't anticipated. Got to Acharacal on Thursday night and joined the rest of the gang in the hotel for a meal, and then set off Friday morning in sort of sun and showers, more showers than sun. Walked the first section down the road with Alan Hardy, one of our esteemed vetters, and we both had plans to go up Ben Resipol, but when we actually came to the turn-off point, he said he felt he would just carry on down the road to Strontian, and I was quite happy to do that because I had a very upset stomach. Whatever I'd eaten that evening gave me a terrible time that night.
Yeah. And was Alan suffering as well?
And then when I said that, Alan said, well, funnily enough, I've got a bad stomach too. What did you have to eat? We both had fish and chips.
Oh my word.
And both had a terrible case of trots. So both agreed that the sensible thing was to head down to Strontian to the hotel and a bit of a rest and, more importantly, the loo. So yeah, people should be careful what they eat the night before they start, because it can play merry hell with your first few days, because both of us, we walked all the way through to the Corran Ferry on our first 2 days, and we're both kind of nipping in and out of the rocks or wherever we could find. So it made for an interesting start.
And what was the ferry crossing like? Because I mean, the weather was pretty gusty all round. Surely the sea wasn't particularly welcoming to travellers?
It was actually fine. Basically, Alan and I walked together first 2 days through Glengower and all that, and had the same kinds of challenges everybody else did, but saw nobody else hardly. I think we saw Dennis and Croydon at one point, and that was about it. And we got to Corran and said, well, let's go into the pub for a bite to eat and a drink or two. And we got in there, and there was a couple of challenges, but by the time we left, the place was heaving with challenges. All sorts of folks kind of came in, Andy and Nick and Lilo, and Croydon reappeared, and all sorts of people. So that was good fun. So a whole pile of us ended up on the ferry going over to the other side to our various accommodations. Yeah.
We've had a range of weather these last 4 or 5 days, and we obviously all try and cater for all eventualities, as is advised by Roger and the vetters, and also from experience as well.
Yeah.
And you're wearing one of the Paramo jackets, which is raised a few eyebrows, not you particularly, but the actual jacket design itself.
Yeah.
And you're exceedingly pleased with it, so just let us know what your thoughts are.
Right, well, it's called the Third Element jacket. I got it for the Cape Wrath Trail last year, so I've already tested it on a good 2-week trek through some real wild parts of Scotland, so I was very confident about bringing it on a challenge, especially when I saw the forecast for the first few days. I mean, what I like about it is, okay, it's Paramo, which a lot of people find makes them too hot, but this jacket's very clever. You can zip off the arms and the hood to leave a vest or a gilet.
And that comes off as one piece, doesn't it?
It comes off as one piece, the arms and the hood. And you can just stash that in the side pocket of your rucksack, walk in the gilet. That's what I'm doing now with just a base layer under it, and I'm quite comfortable. If it rains, just snip out the arms and the top. You can actually pop it on, you've seen me do it already today, without taking your rucksack off.
That was the bit that I realised the advantage to it, actually, because as we got to the top of that pass, you literally just slid on the hood and your arms through the holes, and it sat over the top of your rucksack straps, which I thought was a bit nifty.
So I mean, for a bit of wind protection, or even if it was a passing shower, it would be perfectly adequate. If it was raining persistently, you'd want to actually put it all back together again properly, which the first few times you do it is a wee bit fiddly. It's a combination of zips and poppers, but when you've done it a few times, especially on a trip like the challenge, when you're doing it repeatedly, you become very adept at it, and you can actually do it while it's on your body. You know, I've sat in the tent, or it's pouring with rain, I'll put myself back together again in terms of the jacket before I get cracking. No, very good. And because the zips go from below your armpit to just where your collarbone is, they're also a brilliant venting system. So a very clever piece.
And as you said, some people comment that Paramo's a bit warm. You found it suitable for the conditions we're in. I mean, it's glorious sunshine now, but with a very cool breeze, which you can probably hear.
I mean, even yesterday when there wasn't the breeze but there was the sunshine, I was pretty comfortable in this. I mean, I've got it completely unzipped. I can shove it back, I can open it up. Yeah, no, it's terrific. I mean, I'm also walking in the Cascader trousers, which some people will say, well, it's too hot for that, but I've got them really well vented, open up, and I'm comfy, and I really like the fact I don't have to carry a separate pair of over trousers.
We were also talking while we were on the trail for the last, good few hours, about good piece of kit, bad piece of kit.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably early in the day almost to actually discuss that in great detail, but did anything come to mind when we were talking about it?
Yeah, well, obviously I've talked about the jacket already. I love my pacer poles. I'm doing my 4th challenge with them, and just feel like they're an extension of my body now. Very, very good. As we plough along this quite long Land Rover track along Loch Ericht, you know, you can just feel your upper body helping you move along. You definitely do make good progress with them, and the angle of the handles is just super, so I love them. My ULA backpack, again, 4th challenge with it, very comfy, very good. As you said, all the pockets are in all the right places, places to shove things. We've had a couple of chilly nights, haven't we?
Indeed.
So I've been glad of my Rab Quantum 400 sleeping bag. That's kept me nice and warm. Yeah, no.
Did you have anything that sort of came to the mind for the worst piece of kit, or the most inefficient piece of kit?
Well, I think at the moment, the one thing I'm thinking of is my sealskin socks. I'm using a pair of Innovate Rocklight 370 boots, which don't have a sort of a waterproof membrane, so they're very comfortable, and you know, they're just a boot version of what you've got on. But I have been using the sealskins with my Innovate, and up till now with good success, but just a couple of days ago, that awful day, Saturday in fact, when we were all fighting the wind and the hail and the rain, they decided to give up the ghost. So they've had it. So they'll have to go as my most inefficient piece of kit on the challenge, though they have served me well in the past.
That's fair comment. Well, we've got Dalwhinnie in the distance at the far end of the loch.
Can't see it yet.
Can't see it, but we know it's there.
A long loch.
And we can smell the beer. We're staying in the inn tonight. Are you staying there, or are you B&B?
Yeah, I've booked into the inn. Callum and the crew there have always been good to me when I've stayed at the inn at Loch Ericht, and I'm going there again. And looking forward to food, a bath, chance to wash out some clothes, and get ready for the next stage.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be sitting around a bar at some stage and enjoying a conversation with several of the challengers, and perhaps Callum himself. That would be interesting to see what his point of view is on being located in such a sort of fairly remote part of Scotland. Absolutely. Definitely the dividing line between the first section and the Cairngorm. So we'll touch back later.
Brilliant.
Well, it's just before 5 o'clock on day 5, which finds us in the idyllic setting of the River Findorn Valley. I'll come to that in a minute. Last night we spent a very pleasant evening in a clearing in the woods on the east side of Loch Ness, surrounded by modern sculpture in the woods, which was pretty impressive. And then this morning a whole bunch of us walked our way out through the little villages on the east side of Loch Ness, through Erogie, and onto the tracks that climb and trudge up onto the Monaliath Mountains. Monaliath Mountains. And it was good fun. It was quite a social gathering. And when we got to the top, we split up. Colin, Shirley, Kate and myself carried on up over and higher up the River Findorn. And the weather today has been absolutely splendid, and I don't think anything really prepared us for the wild beauty of the Monaliath.
It's been a glorious day, it really has. The weather is perfect. It's been just fantastic walking all day. The tops of the hills, we've seen hares, we've seen lots of little bits and pieces in ponds, we've seen deer. It's been, not too tough going, and it's just been absolutely beautiful up here, absolutely stunning.
The hot weather of the last couple of days has dried out the bogs, which made life a bit easier going over the top. But it would be a true wilderness, was it not, for the ever-increasing number of Land Rover tracks there that service the lodges and the deer hunting brigade on either sides of the ridge there. But a fantastic day, absolutely gorgeous. And Shirley and Colin have pushed on so that they could get into Aviemore at lunchtime to hit the shops. I've had a bit of a bug or a cold over the last day or so we're just going to take it a little bit slower. We'll be in Aviemore a little bit later tomorrow, but we're going to sit and just enjoy the absolute beauty of this valley. We're on a flat pitch on a lovely S-bend in the river, and way in the distance we can see a lodge and some buildings. I suppose they can see us, and we can see right into the mountains the other side. It's a fabulous spot, perhaps a bit windy maybe in the night, but this is the joy of Scotland, and this is our first night of real wild camping.
It's certainly our first night of wild camping, just our tent, just the two of us. So it sort of feels like, in that sense it feels like, proper challenge. But The day itself, because it was such a nice day, just felt like a quite an easy day, and obviously we've stopped quite early, so it's all feeling quite relaxed, and it almost feels like being on holiday. Although I'm a little bit footsore, so I know I'm not completely on holiday.
Yes, this challenge so far has been an absolute social whirl, mainly due to the weather conditions at the start when everybody traipsed off together. So actually this is the first time we've been on our own, and tomorrow will be the first time we've walked on our own. Day 6 of the challenge, which I'm looking forward to immensely. Anyway, we're just going to sit here and enjoy this lovely lingering late afternoon sunshine. This really is an absolute fabulous spot as the wildlife performs for us in the background. Anyway, tomorrow morning we should be up early. Another bit of bog trotting, following little streams through valleys. Then hopefully we'll hit the River Danane, and then it'll be a straight slog over the Burma Road into Aviemore.
Well, hello. It's been a fantastic day. I walked across from Eroji to a point on the River Dalwhinnie, a distance of approximately 20 miles, with quite a bunch of people today. Started out with quite a lot of people, thinned down to Andy and Kate and Colin about a third of the way through the day, and then I don't know, a couple of hours ago Kate and Andy decided to stop a little bit short because Andy hasn't been feeling 100% today, and Colin and I pressed on with the intention of being able to get into Aviemore as early as possible tomorrow. And here we are now, in fact, camping at, yet another absolutely idyllic spot, right next to the River Dalwhinnie. The sun's gone down now, where we are, but I can still see on the hill just across from me, I can still see it's shining lovely golden and red. The sun's clearly still up in the background. And it's all peaceful and tranquil and lovely. I've had something to eat, and so has Colin. I think we both had some soup. Colin had some kind of unpleasant vegetables in his, and I had carrot and coriander in mine. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to have some macaroni cheese as well, but I haven't embarked upon that yet. So anyway, the plan tomorrow, from my point of view, is to get into Aviemore fairly early, and of course to go and have a look around the kit shops, have a look around the delicatessen, think about stocking up on bread, and see if there's anything else in there that I might like to take along with me, and think about where I'm going to go next and where I'm going to stay tomorrow night. After tomorrow, I'm going to move down into the Cairngorms and embark upon my plan to stay at a couple of haunted places, I hope. And so therefore I'll be thinking about whether I'm going to go to Corrobothie or Ivernbothie, and I'll have a little think about that tonight, and it may be that I'll remember to mention it in the morning. Anyway, that's that from me for now, and so good night from me, good night from Colin, and good night from Gwendy the sheep.
Join us next time as the journey across Scotland continues on the 30th anniversary TGO Challenge 2009. Find out how easy it is to subscribe to all our free programmes. Visit our website at theoutdoorstation.co.uk or look us up on Facebook.